That's the bell ringing, so we know what that means, and I'm delighted to be joined by Lisa Mason, Team GB gymnast, Commonwealth Games, World Championships, Olympic Games. You've won medals galore.
Yep.
But it's not always been easy, has it, Lisa? You know, growing up, being a young girl, training, lots of pressures.
Yep.
I think a little bit of abuse there on your body from being forced by coaches to do things that are not natural always.
Not necessarily. I think, it's very difficult in a sport where you're pushing you to be the best in the world at such a young age.
What age are we talking about?
I mean, you compete internationally as a senior at 14,
Okay.
which I think is ludicrous, personally. You don't really kind of know if you want that yourself, so to be pushed, and I think it's a vicious cycle ultimately, and people talk about this culture of fear and stuff like that, but you kind of learn from who were the best, and it's the Soviet Union at the time. And they're pushing for these girls to look a certain way to fit in with the equipment, and it's not that the equipment's been adapted to fit young women. These young women have been adapted and stunted growth to fit into the equipment. And it can be, it's a very, very tough one, because I feel like everything that's come out and everyone that has blown the whistle on the abuse and stuff that's happened, people have learned, and they are growing, and they are realising that actually this is not the only way, and we can prolong careers now. So you are seeing more gymnasts that are in their 20s. I came back in my 30s and everyone called me crazy, but it can be done with the right coaching and the right mindset.
But that's all well and good, Lisa, but you see, that's the right thing to do, and I know you've been a great advocate for this, but when you've got other countries like your Chinas and your Russias and some other countries who are not doing this, then surely that's giving their athletes an unfair advantage.
I mean, China's definitely been one of those countries that have always been the ones to change the ages so their kids can compete at a younger age. It is very difficult because, trying to get everyone to be on the same page so everyone has a fair advantage, it's not the case. And people are disposable in places like China and Russia because they've got thousands of them coming in and they want to be the best, and they will do whatever it takes to be the best. So.
OK, so let's change sports. Let's imagine that you're an Olympic swimmer.
Right.
You must have come across many of these young ladies that were winning medals at the same time as you in the Olympics and World Championships and whatever. Imagine you've trained from being 3 or 4 year old to be the best swimmer you possibly can be. You find yourself at a championships, Olympics or whatever, and then all of a sudden, from the changing rooms comes this bloke who yesterday was Trevor and now is Tina. He's 6'5". He's got feet like barges. And he's going to dive in, and by the time he's dived in, he's done half a length. Yeah. Is that fair?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've really been open with speaking about this. I do not believe that this should even be a thing. If there's a transgender movement and they want to compete, then we make a category for them. But ultimately, there's not enough of them to fill that whole category. There is unfair advantages. I don't care what anyone says. Artistically in gymnastics, trying to get a 6'1" man on a beam, maybe not so much of an advantage, but to literally just grow your hair out, tuck in your bit, and then put on a swimsuit and go, I'm going to be a swimmer and I'm going to race against all of you when I was 500 and something down the list, and now I'm number one. Yeah, absolutely, it's ludicrous, and I don't think it should be a case of where they should be allowed to even come into the changing rooms and change openly with your meat and veg still there.
So this is not being transphobic.
Absolutely
this is
not.
About fairness, surely, Lisa.
Absolutely. I have friends that are trans and transitioning. We have multiple conversations about this all the time, and fair is fair and unfair is unfair. You're not going to put Evander Holyfield in a boxing ring with a female because he wants to put on a wig and say, my name's Cindy today. It's not going to happen. I just feel like there's so many trans women that want to go into women's sport, and you don't really see trans men that want to compete in men's sport.
That's true. And growing up, going through puberty or whatever, a male will develop at a different rate. They become stronger. There's different bone density. They've got bigger lungs. Even the the capacity of your throat to breathe in. It's all different. The biology is completely different between a man and a woman. So when they do present as a female athlete, they are actually just a man competing against women. Sure.
And for me, it's very much, you know, to transition all the way through with that to become a woman, that takes years, and it's mentally, emotionally and physically draining to do that. So I don't think it's fair when you've got someone that literally wakes up the next week and says, I'm going to be a woman today and I'm going to compete in women's sport. If you're transitioning all the way through, that takes years, and you're not going to be doing that. You're not going to have that advantage when you're taking all of those hormone replacements and taking things away, and it's a completely different story.
So why aren't there more ladies, more women speaking out about this? Because I see yourself speaking out about it. We see Sharon Davis speaking about it. We see J.K. Rowling speaking about these issues. Why aren't more women coming forward? I think
because so many people are scared, because they don't want to be cancelled, and I think that's generally the case. You can't say anything in this day and age without someone saying you're wrong, and it's like you have to agree with everybody. This is, you know, the advantage of having freedom of speech. I can sit here and argue with you and not agree with some of the points that you make in life, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to attack you to say that you're wrong. I think this is personally something that's important for me, being a sportswoman myself. And I know a lot of sports people are on board with the same mindset that I have, but I think so many people are scared to say anything to upset people, because no one ultimately wants to upset anybody. But they're just scared, I think. That's it.
So are you going to be cancelled, Lisa?
I hope not. I hope not. But I will speak up for what I believe, and you can't tell me that it's not right.